Hey guys, welcome back to Ursa Minor Sewing for part 5, or 5, of the 1860s round cage crinoline. In this part we're going to be working on the suspended hoops, since I couldn't fit it into the last video, and we're also going to get a belt put on this thing so that it's finally going to be finished and wearable. So let's step on over to my makeshift cutting area and we'll have a look at how this all works. So for the hoops 6 to 3, you're going to follow this following procedure. We're going to cut a strip of bone casing, and then we're going to thread the bone that's supposed to be in there into the casing, which is then going to get threaded through the corresponding ribbons on the crinoline. I'll just give you a quick shot here of the There's a hoop measurement, so I'm using the mediums. And then here are the bone casing measurements needed. Okay, start just so 20, 100, and 9. Like that. Now, let's do boning. Now that I've got my hoop cut, you're going to, or I'm going to, thread it through the casing that I just cut. This. Okay, so I got the bone into the channeling. It took a little bit of muscle, but it's in there. Now, you're going to take this and thread it through all the corresponding loops. Where's my center front again? So you're going to take, that's the first little pocket that we made there. Oops. Things developed into a bit of a monster. Let's take it. Slide it in, and just like our last hoops, you're going to overlap them at the end by 4 inches. Give it a tape, keep it in place, and then pull the casing over the loose ends. There we go. And you're going to do the same thing for bones 3, 4, and 5. I'm going to go take care of those, and I'll be right back. I did bone number 2 already. This is bone number 1 that I've got cut. And I'm going to show you how to take care of this. You're not going to overlap this one like you do with the other ones. You're going to actually leave this one open. So the first thing you need to do is cap the ends. So you just take a hot glue gun, or even crazy glue will work for this. And you just put a little bit around the edges, like that, and then you're going to slip a cap on. And very quickly take your pliers and clamp that down. Just like that. You'll be happy to know that the shorter your bones get, the easier they are to put in the casing. You just take your casing, pop it open, slip your bone in. Now with this one, you're actually going to insert these into the supports and sew these ends shut to the supports so that they don't slip out. Okay, so once you get the bone 2 and bone 1 installed, you're going to pull this tab through the first strap and just feel around. I've already got the one end sewn in. Just show you that. See how there's a little, I'm going to cut that off when I'm done, but that was just to hold on to. I've got the tip of the bone pressed right up against my stitching. You want to leave a little bit of wiggle room. You just pull the remainder through to have something to hold on to, and you're going to stitch as close to this edge as you can get. I would recommend like a buttonhole stitch to give it some stability so that the bone doesn't eventually tear through the stitch line. By the way, this thing's really tough to work with once you get all the bones into it. Figure it out, just okay. I'm going to put this to a buttonhole. Sorry, guys. And then back. And there you go. Okay, so here I have the materials for making my belt and closure. I have 1.5 yards of 3/4 inch wide webbed belting. This is the same belting that you use to strap your kid into a shopping cart or a toboggan or whatever. I've got a set of D-rings, and I've also got a slider. And the way this is going to work is what I'm going to do is fold over about 1/4 inch, a fat quarter, but don't sew it. You're going to slip your D-rings on, and then you're going to fold this over again. Bring that up so you can see it. And you're going to sew along that fold line there. So it's going to create basically the same type of closure that a lot of motorcycle helmets have, or just safety helmets for sporting. Okay, so let's run this through the machine. And that pretty much finishes it, actually, because all you have to do now, once I get this into the hoop skirt, is you just slip your belt through like this and split your D-rings apart. Then you're going to bring this up over the first and under the second and pull it through to the tightness that you need it, and then pull it taut or tight. and then if I pull on these two here, it doesn't come undone. The only reason why I have this slider here, I'm going to stick that on. Now, a good guide for sticking a slider on is that the webbing should always be next to there's some little grooves cut on this side of this bar and this side of this bar, but the middle bar, the grooves are on the other side, and the webbing should be up against that because they create resistance, and they grip a hold of the webbing. So what you're going to do is just take this, and with the grooves of the center facing you, you're going to come up and then down the other side, just like that, and move. Okay, so the reason I'm putting a slider on here is because once I get this portion of the closure fastened, I don't want this just dangling around and, you know, making my waist feel uncomfortable or slapping my legs as I'm walking. So then I can take the end, pass it through the slider like this, but then I can move this slider along my waist to shorten that tail so it doesn't flap around a whole lot. So that's the only reason I'm putting the slider on there. You don't need to. As a matter of fact, once you've determined how much belting you need to put this around your waist nice and comfortable and tight, you can trim this belting off, but I recommend leaving about 6 to 8 inches, like a 6 to 8 inch tail, you know, so 6 to 8 inches from your D-rings, and this is good. You can also use a snap enclosure or a clip closure. I just couldn't find one at my local fabric store, so I did the D-ring thing, and it works. So let's go thread this into my into the hoop skirt, and we'll see how it fits. So here I have the hoop skirt. Let's get the belting into this. Now I want this to attach the same way a normal belt does, which is usually from the buckle. The buckle generally sits on your left. So what we're going to do is thread this into your uppermost loops from the right-hand side going counterclockwise. Okay, and there it is, all done. So that's it. It's all done. Everything's all put together. We don't have to look at it again, except for when you wear it. So, next video when you come around, I will be showing you what it looks like worn, giving you a review of what I think of it, and possibly even a cost breakdown of what it cost to put this thing together. So, till next time, happy sewing.